Hey everyone, let us know if you can hear me in the chat. Hopefully everything's sounding okay. It's been a while since I've been in front of this camera, so yes, here I am. To a small group of people so far, so I do apologise for last week's short notice cancellation, but yeah, I felt ill. Can't help that. Still recovering, but thank you to everyone for all the best wishes that everyone sent through social media and emails and things like that, so it was really touching. I've got a cough left, and it's just kind of, it was like I wouldn't call it a flu because it wasn't the flu. I've actually had a flu shot this year. I'd say it was probably more like bronchitis. So I've got a cough left. Nothing wrong with the nose, so I should sound okay. But yeah, probably will see me mute myself every now and then to cough my lungs up. But yeah, it's all good now. Last show, we were going to sort of muck around a bit with the Polyend Tracker and the synth system, and I kind of stopped short because I'd only just installed the firmware. And I did promise that I was going to show it again once I had a bit of a play with the firmware and things like that. And I've done that. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at that first, because there's a few people that still really want to see that because they don't own the tracker and they just want to see what kind of things they're up to over at Polyend. I can tell you these guys are developing really, really good stuff. Then, as the title says on the show, we are going to open up that thing, how do I do it? That way. It's so hard with cameras reversing what you're doing. That thing on my shoulder there is the DX7 2FD version. I'm going to move that and put that in place where this is at the moment. You can see this here. So we'll swap her over, and then we're going to run all of that through all this gear here. So there's a lot of stuff in here that's analog. There's analog choruses, there's Juno choruses in there, there's analog phases from System 100 clones, there's System 500 phases, there's analog phases from Frequency Central, there's Rachel's Descartes' Dream ring modulator, there's analog EGs, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and we're just going to sort of throw the DX7 at it and see what doorbell sounds we can make. Just kidding. Right, let's start with this. So, let us know, everyone, happy with sound. We're just going to do a sound check now. If that's a bit quiet, you can let me know. I can always make that a bit louder. Do we need to make that a bit louder is the question. We can just do this, can't we? We can just, there we go. Right, so first things first, mapping all of this stuff is a cinch. Basically, where was that information? The information was somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but it was somewhere. Actually, it might have been here. Yes, there it is there. So these numbers, I don't know, it's not very good. You can't really see it. It's very tiny graphics for you guys. But these numbers along the side here are all the CC numbers. So if you're into, I don't know, synth mapping and stuff like that, let's just quickly show you that, because I know that there's people that are into this stuff. And I don't want to kind of have people saying to me, you didn't show me how to map it. So we're going to do that. Now I'm just going to use a Roland A Pro, which is this is the A500 Pro. I like these in terms of synth MIDI mapping, because there's an editor that comes with it that's actually really, really handy. And I think it's this button. And what we can do is we can actually load the control map that I've done before, but really it's quite simple. Basically what you see there is what you see here. See, they're the same thing. What you see on the screen is what you see there. And yeah, all you need to do is literally just click on a parameter like that, and then make it a channel message, because we're talking about channel messages here. And let's say we want that one to be the cutoff for the filter, right? So just type in cutoff there, change it to a control change message. MIDI channel is not really appropriate, so we don't have to worry about that. But this is the one that you want here. So if we go back to this view here, we can see that cutoff is control change 1. So we need to just put a 1 there, and then we click OK, and then we upload it. I don't need to do that now because I've already done it, but that's literally how you do it. So what I've done is I have set all of the control change messages, as many as I can, on some of these knobs here. And these sliders, I've set these to the ADSR for the amp and filter envelopes. All right, so that way we can play around with the amp and filter envelopes. And I just wanted to see kind of how crap or how good this is going to sound. So there you go. That's a quick little lesson there. Brooksy's joined us, so Brooksy, you can chime in whenever you want.
Hi.
Hi. So if I go back to there, now you can see all these parameters, right? So if I wiggle this knob here, you can see that that's actually controlling the cutoff. And if I wiggle this knob to the right of it, that's doing the resonance. All right. And this knob further to the left actually selects what type of filter it is. So you can disable the filter completely. There's also tuning and panning, all sorts of stuff. Let's have some fun. All right, let's just do the basic stuff, the filter first, all right? So the low pass, resonance there. So as you can see with the envelope, I've got a nice big long release. This is attack, decay, sustain, release on the filter, attack, decay, sustain, release on the amp. So let's take the release off of both of those. See how it changes the timbre of it? Take the sustain out and get a bit more of a a sharp sort of. So the envelope's working as we'd expect it to. There's more effects over on this side too. So for example, overdrive. Which one was overdrive? Yeah, that's overdrive. So. All right, so that's all that sort of stuff. Now, why don't we go back to the instruments and let's choose a different one. Let's choose this one. All right, and the filter should work on this. Let's change the filter to a high pass filter. I'm just going to mute me because it's raining at the moment. and then we'll just do the band pass. Okay, so one other thing I'll mention too is now that you've got this mapped, right, all this stuff mapped here, you can then, like in, for example, something like Ableton, you can then go and automate that stuff inside Ableton. So let's get rid of this. And you can map those sort of CCs into, if you've got like, I don't know, Max for Live and things like that, or you've got a soft MIDI controller in Ableton, you can do that. And then you can automate that sort of stuff too. So it kind of, it's actually a cool thing. Right, now, different sound. What should we do, Brooksy? Let's go to... Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to do this emulator. So this is the famous... Jean-Michel Jarre used in the album Zuluk. But what I've done with it is I've gone into the sample editor, or is it sample playback? Yeah, sample playback. And I've turned on granular mode. This is the sound out of the emulator, right? And see how it's automating? Now, I can't remember which one I did as which, but some of these will actually change. So in this section here, you have got granular position, and you can see I've set it to LFO and triangle, and then you've got 6 steps, 4 steps, all that sort of stuff. So I can actually control how many steps it is, and I forget which one it is. That was controlling that. It may have been that, no. I forget which one it was anyway, but let's control it from here. So, so this is related to the time of your pattern. And the amount will be how much it moves, right? So we can actually look at that by going to here. And we can change it. Kind of some really bizarre effects. So that's another cool thing that you can do now with this, because you've got MIDI control over those features. So that whole section there, instrument automation, you've got volume, panning, cutoff, wavetable position, granular position, fine tuning, and then in each of them you've got a selection of LFO, envelope, and then what type of shape you want it, and then the steps are to do with the timing, and the amount is obviously how big you want it to move. So if we would change the amount to a small amount, you'll see it's only moving a very small amount. And if you change it to a large amount, like that, so all that sort of stuff can do some really cool things, and that's one of the things I love about samplers. Right. Let's bring Brooksy in. Haven't seen Brooksy for ages.
Ooh. Oh, well,
I think he's avoiding me.
I was at my brother's 50th birthday last week, which was sweltering hot, and a bit the worse for wear on Sunday I was. But
you are very quiet, and I think it's because of me. Let me just change that.
Oh.
Try again. Keep talking.
Keep talking, keep talking.
There we
keep
go. That was
talking.
my fault. I must have knocked. I must have knocked the slider here. There we go. What do you think of that whole automation thing with the granular? It's cool fun, isn't it?
You made some really interesting noises and really grainy things.
Yeah, I love the visuals.
That's the tracker, is it? So that's the tracker.
That's the tracker. So right now we haven't used any tracking sequence at all. This is really just using the sample engine, which one thing I love about it is the screen. It's so big. Like when you compare that to some of the other samplers out there, they've got tiny screens on. The MPCs don't. They've got good screens. This isn't touchscreen though, so everything is controlled by menu items along here, and then you use the big data wheel, which is just there. But yeah.
Yeah.
And so all of that can be mucked around with there. And then that.
Just interesting about touch screens, because I'm in two minds about how well they work sometimes. Certainly, I've got a little touch screen thing in my car, and it can get really frustrating. And sometimes here on the MPC, the touch screen is really great, and other times it's going, oh, why won't you just do it? Oh.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's that's not the MPC. I just think it's the thing about touch screens. Somebody was saying on one review that the touch screen on the MPC-1 is actually better than it is on the Live, for example. But
could be.
It's a newer subtle thing. That was Loopop, I think. I think Loopop said that one.
Well, he'd know.
But yeah, and sometimes you just think, actually, it's quite easy to just use the buttons. But anyway.
You know what? I have the same problem with my iPad. Because iPads are touchscreens, right? I have the same problem with my iPad.
Of course,
so sometimes I'm typing on it and it won't register that I'm typing on it because there's no other way to type except for using those, touch keyboards that are on there. And it frustrates the pants off of me sometimes because you're like, type my password, you mongrel, and it won't do it. So you could be in your car and you could be like, I don't know, something important's happening in your car, and you might want to turn the radio down or something like that, and you're trying to do it through the touchscreen, and it just isn't responding. So yeah, I think it's a common thing with them. So in a way, this is probably good that it's not touchscreen.
Yeah, interesting.
It'll probably last. I think it's almost time to put the DX7 in. So one of the things I like too is if you don't want to fluff about with these menu controls like that, you can actually just use the pad as well. So it does the same thing. Oh, that's quiet. That's why. That's like a bassy sound, and that is not. That's not supposed to be polyphonic either, but it's interesting. Yeah. Now this JU0635 pad is a patch that I sampled when I had the JU06 Boutique. All right. Let's make this a bit louder. I think if you hold it down, it's got a bit more to the sample. Yeah. And you can see there's a bit more coming up. So if we just wanted it just to be that bit there, and maybe we wanted it to start a bit quicker. So I kind of find this stuff really boring, right? Because, samples do that. They've done this for years. That's why I like mucking around with these things. Like, Wavetable itself is good fun because you can you can position this thing anywhere. And then you can give it a bigger window or a smaller window.
Ow!
Yeah, it's loud, doesn't it? Wow.
Whoa.
But for me, I think my favourite thing in this is granular, right? And what do we want to do this? Make this a bit longer, right? I just find it just infinitely fun, just mucking around with granular stuff. I think it's cool. And that's just, like I said, not even touching the tracker. But yeah, the cool things is all of these controls now in the instrument parameter side are all mappable. You can see there's a hell of a lot of stuff that they've mapped. Cut off, wavetable position. Yeah, so that granular position stuff that I was mucking around with before, you can map it to a CC. Personally, I can't remember which one I mapped it to because I was mucking around with it before, which is in, is it in there? No. Yeah, it was in here. So that's tune, that's fine tune. That's volume, that's panning. This is the filter, cutoff, resonance. I definitely know these are to do with bit depth, right? So where did I map it? Andy's saying, I wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about, son. It may have been one of these. It may have been one of these sliders, ADSR, ADSR. It could have been that. Well, let's do that now. So if we go to here, what we want to do is we want to move the automation type. The automation type is the amount of steps. Yeah, I think that's the one we want. So that is 108. So if I send this a 108, just give me a sec, I'm just going to load, open, pretty sure I saved it somewhere here. Oh no, there it is. Polyend Tracker, done. And then what was this? No assign. Okay, I didn't assign that to anything. Cool. Let's do that. Let's call this granular what is it? Gran Auto. And if you're wondering what I'm doing this. One thing I love about this A Pro is it does SysX, so you can actually go straight into system exclusive stuff, which I think is so cool. So many MIDI controllers. Was it 108? It was 108. And then we send it. Just do it. Right. Now, if everything goes well, we should be able to go into the instrument, granular, make it a LFO. And if I adjust the slider, that should...
Excuse me.
Why is that not doing that? We're on granular. Oh, it's doing that, the type. Ah, right. Someone's screaming at me on YouTube right now saying, "You idiot. It said type in there, can't you read?" I wanted 113. That's what I wanted, I think. Let's change it to 113. Transmit, overwrite, and stop whinging. Now this should work. Yay. Cool. So now I've got control over this, right? So I can go into here now and the LFO, by the way, is the steps. So if we bring that down to sort of there, it should calm it down a bit. There we go. There we go, starting to get more control now. Make it a bit bigger. I just find that stuff insane, eh? Anyway, I think it's interesting, and I don't really care if you guys don't. No, I'm just kidding. Right, we are going to unplug all this, and we're going to put the DX7 on. And I don't know who's coming on today. I'm pretty sure it might just be you and me, Andy.
All right. Darren was in the chat. Is Darren not jumping in?
I don't know.
Are you jumping in, Darren?
I haven't actually told him I was actually streaming, so he's probably, he may not be ready. But he's allowed in if he wants. Let me just turn the Polyend off.
Are you all mended and put back together? Because I remember you saying you weren't very well last week. So
yeah, I was crook last week. Yeah, I think I am. It was basically, I think it was probably bronchitis. I was doing rat tests all week, all that sort of stuff, just in case, you know. And I tested negative on everything, so that was all good. But yeah, no, it wasn't too well. And there was no way I would be able to do. I actually had a fever on the night of the stream, and I started setting up for the show, and I just went, I just can't do this, because it's going to be me talking as if death warmed up. It just wouldn't have been very entertaining.
No, I think you've got to look after yourself first. You know, I know there'll be people who'll have thought, "Oh, bloody hell, where's Rant?" But you've got to look after yourself.
Exactly.
Not making yourself worse, is there?
Yeah. Oh, I would, and I think I would have made myself worse too. As it turned out, I was kind of probably crook maybe for about 2 or 3 days max, and then after the rest of the week, it was just a lingering cough. So I've still got a bit of a cough. Oh, we do have Andy here. Cool. Let me just grab the DX7.
Well, while you're grabbing that, I've got to make an apology to Andy. Because unfortunately I missed your hardware jam set last night, because between me and Jim, we'd scheduled our premieres at just that time. Not very well coordinated, so sorry about that. catch it later.
'80s technology.
Well, that's no way to refer to your guests, honestly. Can't hear you, Andy. Ranz might have you muted at his end, though.
I'm running out of power spots. There is definitely something I could unplug, but I'm definitely worried about unplugging something, and it could be like something really important, like the show. We don't really need the nifty case today. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Let's take the nifty case out. Sorry, nifty case. Ah, there's a familiar voice. Ooh. We can hear you, mate. There he is.
Yay! Oh, has he banged his head?
We need to change. Just give me a sec. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to change, because I don't know what Darren thinks he owns this place. Let's just change this.
No, Dave does.
Nah, Darren does. All right, let's try that again. There we go. Look at that. See, you've got your own name now. Now let's fix your. What did you do to your head, mate?
I fell off the bloody chair.
Oh, did you? That'll do it every time, eh? Now, I can't move you across because that's your end. You need to move your camera or something. But try not to do yourself another head injury, yeah?
Bloody hell.
I mean, yeah. we can do miracles here, but not that many miracles. I reckon that'll do. We can see it.
I think the camera angle might be a bit tricky to do.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I think we can see you. You're not going to break your neck, will you? There you go. Look at that. You just have to remember to move yourself to the opposite side that you think to move yourself to. Stupid cameras.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's not going to help. Don't worry about him. Right. Now, what do we need to do? We, Mr. Rave Dave, we've got a DX7 in front of us. You weren't even born when those things came out, matey. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that beautiful thing. Let's turn this light off here.
Oh.
There you go. Look at that. Isn't that a thing of beauty? It's even got the original Yamaha cartridge in it. And right now it's not making any sounds because I need to plug in some source audio into the back. But we'll do that in a second. And what you can do, Dave, is I've heard that you've brought out a new album called Violetly Purple. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's slamming. Have you ever seen it? Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I've seen the video.
Just hang on.
It's pretty nasty, isn't it? The video, eh? It's banging about.
It's like Kendall. You should have seen the first take.
Yeah? What happened in the first take? Did you destroy the whole place?
No, I fell in the bloody loo. Why do you think it's so purple?
Oh, there you go. We just thought it was the duck, the toilet duck, or whatever you call it, the cleaner.
Duck? I don't have any ducks in my toilet.
Oh, don't you have ducks in your toilets? Ah, you're missing out on life, mate.
I also had, I had this inky pack thing. I said he hasn't even got a bloody printer.
Mm.
I need to pump this chair up somehow.
I think you do, mate. While you're talking, by the way, I'm trying to set up this DX7, so don't forget you've got the whole world looking at you right now.
Oh, God. Well, if anybody
No pressure.
wants to see the album, oh, no pressure on me. I want to go out raving.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone's not seen the album, check it out. It's Kendall. Let's see if you can spot the vocal on Purple Ray.
Purple Rain.
Oh, we definitely saw the Purple Rain. Well, I definitely heard the Purple Rain reference.
I'm
Yeah.
going to get my furry ass kicked for that.
Oh, I don't think so. He's dead now anyway, so I won't worry about him. Hey.
That's true.
His lawyers aren't dead,
I
though.
watched,
No.
yeah, that's another thing. Liars? What liars? Did you want to meet my liars?
How many have you
Hey,
got?
can you guys hear
Dave?
me?
Oh, we can hear you. Yeah, hi, Andy. Oh, look, violent
Sorry.
heat purple.
Little glitch there.
Labels.
Dave, what happened to your head?
I fell off the bloody chair.
Oh man.
It's
Had any
these
stuffing come
freaking
out?
knobs, I've told him. Not of me. Off Darren it will have done. These knobs, I wanted them at 11. Bloody 11. They only go to 10.
Did you see Dr. Bunsen Honeydew?
Ooh.
The doc on the Muppet Show.
That's like a Volca.
Sign.
I don't watch them Muppets. I'm a raver. Bloody Muppets. He's a Muppet.
Nobody's
what,
called
it's
I guess I'm the
all
Muppet now,
very
right? So
hot. And when you check out track 10, the secret one, you'll be able to find out how I've got Darren to make the album.
Whoa.
Hey Dave, I'm Mr. Bill.
See, let-
How you doing?
Hi! God, as we get older, I tell you.
Oh dear, oh dear. Can't hear you,
Nice
Rant.
set, by the way,
You're
Andy.
muted. Oh, thank you. That was banging too. That PA system was awesome. It sounded phenomenal in the actual venue. Thank you to Simon Greatbatch for doing the filming on his phone. But yeah, it was that was fun little set. That was. I thought, well, if Rave can make it slamming, I better do something like that myself.
It sounded awesome, and that was only on the small speakers.
Oh, you say the nicest things.
Hey Dave, you like my new shirt?
Hell yeah!
Brand new issue. 1978 classic.
You want to see Darren's shirt?
Is it? Are you able to show it on air?
He might have it on later. I said I'm going off when the show starts,
doesn't
because
need to
I'm
be,
off out in the car.
Doesn't need to be censored.
Not really. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh,
It's all a palm of violets.
well, yes.
Randy got the problem I had earlier. It spread around like a virus.
You guys can hear me through this, right?
Yeah, is that your room cam?
Yeah.
Cam mic.
I don't know what's going on. I can't get this to work.
Oh no.
Sorry, Rant. Me.
Yeah,
I
Dave will have
blame
broke it.
vMix because everything on my side was
It's
fine.
not your
and all of a
fault.
sudden it just worked.
When I was plugging stuff in, I reckon I killed a connection.
I kill lots of Darren's connections.
Can you hear the synth?
No, only the
No,
keyboard.
just your AC
As in
in your room.
you
or
playing
whatever.
it.
Yeah. Right. God help me. Why did this happen?
Dave, what did you do?
I've not pulled anything off. Well,
This
only
time.
Darren's knobs.
That's a good idea not to do that on the air. So
He went mental.
Well, he would do, wouldn't he?
No, as I said, in track 10, I want to work in a studio with purple lights and knobs that go to 11.
And he didn't oblige. It
No,
was a simple request, wasn't it?
Wasn't
It was
very
easy.
happy.
It's simple. It's quite purple
it's a
behind you.
request I always get. Yeah, well, I made him put them up.
Very effective to set the right mood.
Yeah, it was until he popped half of the balloons. I said, what are you out of breath for God's sake? Take a palm of violet. I think Ranzee's having issues.
He is. He is having issues.
I'm working on a second album.
Very productive.
Probably can't say the name of it, but you'll find out if you listen to track 10.
I'll have to talk to you through this for a sec until I work out what's going on.
No,
But it probably sounds terrible, right? What camera is it?
no, it's
just your fan.
It won't be the fan. It will be a noise loop thing, and I can hear myself, which is making it worse. Let me just turn myself
It's
off.
not your PC noise.
Yeah, it'd be like a noise loop thing. It probably sounds terrible, right? Now,
Just a little whine. It's okay.
the software vMix that's streaming is not letting me see my ASIO input, but I can hear it on my PC. So, go figure.
Do you need to restart vMix at your end then? Or will that
Oh.
just end the stream?
It will just end the stream, yeah. I just don't know why it's not letting me do it.
There's just a sort of high-pitched whining, and you sound obviously in a room, but it's been worse.
Yeah, but you're going to hear that the whole time now.
My voice.
Not that kind of high-pitched whining, Dave. No.
It says it's gone offline. I wonder if I can change it to the non-ASIO driver. Where are we? Studio 192.
You have to switch back to Linux like the other show.
Yeah, this has never done this to me before. When I was plugging stuff in, I must have knocked something over here. There's a massive big cable. I can hear everything here, but it's just not going through the vMix software for some reason. I wonder if I restart the audio interface, whether that's just going to completely shit everything.
I can't can't see the chat, so if people are talking, I can't see.
There's the chat there.
They've said lots of nice things.
Can't work it out, guys. You're probably going to have to put up with this for the moment. Audio interface is working.
Tambourine filler music.
If I restart vMix, can you guys call back in?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can call back in. I'll let Darren come on, shall I?
The
But
stream,
don't forget,
the stream will keep streaming. It'll just go black for a sec.
Right.
Don't let Darren
go
come
out,
back
come
in.
back in.
Lock the door.
Right.
Just go lock the
You want us
door.
to jump out and come back?
Yeah, give me a
Right.
sec, guys. Sorry.
No problem.
So we'll jump out.
Yep.
One, two, 1, 2. 1, 2.
Sounds good. Yeah, it
Yay!
works.
All right. Yeah, I think the vMix just shut itself. And
It's a damn DX7.
it was a DX7, yeah. Let me just get you guys back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So you were quick coming back in. All right, sorry about that, guys. Now, can you hear this?
Yes. Doorbell.
Good. What we need to do is we need to send this into something.
Did you watch that GS2 video that Waylon put up? That was amazing.
I didn't, but
Speaking of FM.
you can tell us
Yeah.
about it.
I thought it was really good. I didn't know it was 4 operator. But, pretty good. Very good stuff. But of course, the Reface DX is 4 operator. It sounds great. So. That pesky FedEx guy just won't go away, huh? Just keeps ringing the bell.
No, I'm going to change the patch. Don't worry. Just give me a sec. I'm just getting this thing
I'm just
to the point where.
being silly. Hey, there's Darren.
All right.
You're getting close to clipping.
Okay. Whoa, what happened to Dave? Muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's warmer than you think.
How did you guys survive your heat wave over there?
With difficulty.
I was laughing my head off when I was watching all the social media posts coming out of the UK going, "We're melting! It's 40 degrees, help!" But I'm joking. I actually do feel sorry for some people because that would have been a nightmare. Considering that a lot of people in the UK do not have air conditioners. Some of the big buildings in the city do, of course, because they're like climate controlled.
Very few have air conditioning.
So, and you guys,
even some of our transport doesn't.
Your houses are built to stay warm. Your houses are not built to cool themselves. Whereas in Australia, our houses are actually built to cool themselves. So in our winters, we actually have freezing cold houses, and we have to do things like use heaters and stuff like that, fireplaces, and literally the air just goes straight out the windows.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Not everyone's used to Las Vegas or Alice Springs weather, so you know.
Exactly. You've got it. What I'm thinking is, that's going through a phaser and a flanger.
What's the name of that patch?
This is an original DX7 patch called Warm String, was STG-A. But you can hear the sine wave. Just there, you can hear it getting creamy. The FM sort of creamy sound. All right, I do want to put it through Deckard's voice. I think that's probably when everyone wants to see what happens. I don't really know why, because like with FM, you can do ring mod. So, do you know what I mean? It's literally built into it. But anyway, people will want to see it. Right, Darren, how did you cope this week, mate? You had albums and you had Daves and you had balloons. What's going on?
And I'm sweating my absolute beep off. Gee,
I listened to the album in my car probably 3 times in a row. It was that good. It was really, really good.
Yeah, track 10's different, isn't it?
I like track 10, yeah. I like them all, actually. Yeah. Let's just get this up.
Track 10's definitely, yeah.
Now, if anyone's slipping under a rock and they don't know what the hell we're talking about, this is what we're talking about. Violetly Purple by Rave Dave. And you just guys saw Rave Dave before. Unfortunately, he had to go. But there's...
He's off raving. Oh, dear. It's not ambient or trance, let's put it that way. It's more for the rave scene, dance floor, sort of. It's different.
I'd say it has a bit of ambience to it, though.
Breaks. Yeah,
there's some ambience to it.
There is,
yeah.
Yeah. I'd say more. It's very slight. It's differently written, I would have thought. Sort of like, because you can have like a 4 on the floor, then it's a break, and then it's a different break, and it's just some of the tracks are just a bit Rave Dave-ish. Like better go and get Darren. What's a Volca? He still thinks it's a harmonica. I keep telling him it's not. A Volca's not a harmonica.
He doesn't know what a Volca is.
No.
What are you going to do when he gets booked to play Glastonbury?
Well, if he did get that, I've got an idea anyway. Might be a bit expensive, my idea, though.
According to Mark Tinley, he'd fit right in there. So he's
What happened to that guy? We haven't seen him for a while.
Look,
He was on Sonic State actually last week for the first time in ages. He's not had a good time.
I missed it.
His daughter passed away.
Oh, really? I haven't watched
His
Sonic State
Instagram
for a
is
while,
nuts. If
actually.
you haven't seen it, check them on Instagram. They're pretty wild.
Who are we checking? Sorry, I missed that.
Tinley, Mark Tinley's Sonus Magus channel on Instagram. It's pretty crazy.
Have to do that. If I find time. It's been a nightmare here lately.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's funny.
Violetly Purple, as we were talking about. I actually, Darren, if we did the show last week, I wouldn't have really been able to show this because it kind of got launched the day after, right? So.
No, it was launched actually as your show was on.
Oh, okay. So, but anyway, it gives people a week to listen to it, and we can talk about it and review it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a bit more embedded a week later. But if anyone hasn't got it, I will give the link in the chat because I think it's worth checking out. And at the very least, you can have a listen to it for free, right?
Exactly.
How cool is that?
You can.
I want to
Go on, Andy.
say Darren's track on Ian's podcast is really good.
Yeah, Ian's podcast was cool. Hey, big shout out to Ian, by the way, if he's watching.
Yep.
Thanks for that. I think there was a few of us on there. I don't know why he chose that track of mine though.
He liked it.
People, yeah, well there you go. When people
It's a
choose,
good track.
have you ever noticed that when people choose the tracks that you know of your music, you kind of scratch your head and think, why did you choose that one? Because that might not have been your favourite.
Rant, most of the
Well, not
time, it's the
necessarily.
track that you thought, that's rubbish. I didn't spend much time on it. And
It
the one
is.
that you spent hours and hours on that you think is your best ever, you go, yeah, it's not so bad. But this one's great. That was 5 minutes and I didn't even like it.
The track he chose of mine was probably one of the only tracks that I've ever published commercially that was completely made by VSTs. There was no hardware at all. It was done all in the computer.
Well, can you spot any on Rave Dave's albums? Do you know of any what he might have used on some of there?
I did at one stage. I did do that sort of can I spot the synth thing with a couple of the tracks, and I definitely heard. I reckon I heard Omnisphere. That it felt like it was Omnisphere, but I wasn't sure.
Omnisphere. There is Omnisphere on a couple of tracks. I'll tell you some of the stuff that was used on that album. The Erebus, Mark II, the Pulse. A lot of the bass is done with the Waldorf Pulse 2. Like, you can't see it actually; it's just up out there. The Juno was used, but you probably won't even recognise it because by the time I finished messing about with it, even I didn't realise it was a Juno. What else? Oh, the AM1X was used quite a bit, and the Monologue as well for some bass and some.
I definitely picked the AM1X because I kind of felt that was the gel of that sort of rave sound throughout a lot of the tracks. There's that real sort of VA synthy rave sort of sound that's synonymous. Like if you had like a Roland JP, you know, one of those, you'd probably would have used that as well because it has that real sort of 90s, early 2000s sort of rave vibe to it.
And the DFAM.
What? No purple emu command
the DFAM
station?
Was used. The DFAM was used in a bit of an obscure way because I'd literally just like come up with some really wacky sort of weird sounds that it comes up with, and then in the sample I'd chop it up and create some sort of weird rhythm out of it. So it wasn't what came out of the DFAM. The sounds were, but not in the sort of riff that came off the DFAM. I chopped it up just to use the set because I like the sound of it. It's just obscure and sort of deep and gnarly and weird. And then a few samples that was all mashed together.
Yes. Right.
You know, like in Voodoo Ray.
Well, you know what we should do, people? We should probably do a proper show. since we've been flapping about, restarting vMix. All my fault, of course. Being sick and all that sort of stuff. Let's do this. It's just hit 2 o'clock in the UK, and I'm not even in the UK, so I don't even know why the hell I do say that, but I do advertise the show at that time. So if you've just arrived, big hello to you. We've just been streaming for an hour, so I don't know what the hell you've been doing. Anyway, big welcome to you anyway. We've got a whole bunch of really awesome people here other than me, starting with Darren and Andy and Brooksy, and we'll probably say hello to those in a sec, but just to make things weird, I'm actually going to say hello to these people here, which completely does not work. What the hell happened? Oh, I restarted vMix. Oh no. Oh no. Why? Why? Why did we lose the chatties? Hang on. Everything is going to be fixed in a couple of mouse clicks. Trust me. We are going to be good. It's all going to be good. It's all going to be good. Trust me. Here we go. I sound like a used car salesman. Ready, set. Yay! There they are. You guys exist. You won't just black screens anymore. Yes. So, hello everyone. Hello to all the channel members, which obviously we should shout out to them first because they help support the show, like Future World Machines and Brooksy and David and Keith in Watford. Who else have we got? Popesy's there. Yep. And also to everyone else who's regular, like Wagoo and I don't know. I've seen there's a few faces I haven't, well, names I should say, that I haven't seen for a while, like Half God, Half Beast. Big hello to you. These are just randomly picked out. Hello to Manny, Dr. Synth. Hello to Cresshead. Big hello to Steve. Good to see you. And Bert's there. ASIO Head. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of you cool people. Steve Powell. And doesn't mean the rest of you aren't cool. It's just that there's a lot of cool people here, and we've got to get on with the show. But it's very, very nice to have you. And speaking of nice to have people, we'll start off with Andy, because he's up early and he deserves a shout out. Big thanks for getting up early, mate. I know it's 7 in the morning there, 6 in the morning or something.
Some caffeine after a 2-hour nap, so I'm okay.
How's the last couple of weeks been going for you?
Well, it's pretty crazy because they have the Hardware Jam Fest this weekend, and supposed to do a 15-minute set, and work was kicking my ass last week and all through the weekend. So I didn't get a chance to do it till Sunday night, like super, super late. So Monday I was a zombie at work. But it was all worth it because it was a hell of a show. So you guys check that out this weekend if you want to watch Saturday, Sunday. 2 more days of it. Amazing players in there. There's some stuff yesterday I was just totally blown away by. It's like, holy moly. Guys really upped their game for that. But yeah, that's good fun. And a
lot of hard work goes into
usual
that
stuff. Yeah, and I'm also working on something for the Unsigned Review Live Clown Fest thingy, the 80s thing next week. So always plenty of stuff in the fire. That's good stuff.
Yeah, well worth it. Like I said, lots of hard work went into it, and all of those people, including yourself, Andy, you did some really, really good stuff. A big shout out to Lisa as well. Obviously, she's Inky, the cat. You guys would know her as. She's really big at promoting that and getting behind it, and so. She's been trying to get back on the show, but it's just been really hard for her. So if you're watching, Lisa, we love you, and we'll see you soon. Don't worry about that. Brooksy.
Yeah, she's way overbooked right now.
Yeah, she is. It says guest 4. I don't know why, but I'll fix it.
Fine. Yeah, hi, everyone. Yes. I can't say I've actually been particularly busy, but I played, not last Thursday, the Thursday before. That was the 14th of July. Played at the first Derby EMOM night, so Electronic Music Open Mic Night in Derby, which was organised by a friend of the show, by Jim Glue. he basically organised that. It's an absolutely wonderful venue called Dubrek Studio. So they've got studios, rehearsal rooms, a cafe space. There's a cafe space, a little stage, but an awesome PA system and on stage head height monitoring, which was just awesome. So really, really good sound. They put on a really good event there, so that was well worth it. If anybody else is in that sort of area, doesn't mind, or travelling a bit further to get to Derby, there's one on, I think, you better check, 14th, I think, of August, or the 18th of August, sometime around then. There's another one coming up. That was filmed by Simon Greatbatch on his phone, and he sent me the video of that. So Jim and I did a premiere of that last night at 9:30 for me and 9:45 for Jim. Now, I'm sorry, Andy, that coincided with the time of your set on Hardware Jams. We didn't coordinate it. We didn't. Yeah, we didn't coordinate it very well, so I'm going to have to go back and watch that. So that's been premiered, so that's up. I mean, it is just the sound through his phone rather than a direct recording, but it still sounds pretty decent. I was quite pleased with it. The sound of that was, in the room itself was really powerful. I was this is great. This is how it should sound. So that was fun. I'm going to do a recording in here of that set as near as I can for a VEMOM, a virtual EMOM, which is happening on the 28th. So I'm going to record that, submit it, and that's been broadcast on the 28th, but I'm not entirely sure where. I think it's on Facebook. It might also be on YouTube, but I don't know for certain. And then actually also on the 28th, that's Sheffield EMOM again. So actually on the night, I'll be playing in Sheffield. Hooray, just down the road, so not too much of a trek. So that's the sort of things that are happening at the minute. So it's all coming together quite nicely. And
can you get the link for that virtual EMOM?
Possibly, Andy, leave that one with me. I'll have a look, and then I'll ping it to you either in the chat here or via Facebook. Not entirely sure, but yeah, they're looking. They're looking
fun to
for
enter if they would let me.
Andy,
They may not let me. So, yeah.
I see no reason why they wouldn't. You can just join up on, if you're a member of EMOM on Facebook, and it's open to anyone to join, doesn't matter where you are. So I'll do that. I'll have a look and then ping that over to you. Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so also we said hello to Darren before, but just to formalise that, Darren, how's your week been other than making albums and everything? You been doing anything else?
Yeah, just hot really. Nothing to report on that. Just very hot. Just couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything really. It's that been hot. I know you don't find it that good, but yeah, over here with no aircon or anything, it's been really hot. Talking of Inky, she's doing some live fests. If you check her channel out, she's doing. You'll see which festivals she's doing, live festivals, and I think she's even going to actually live mix Rave Dave's album at some point in the future. So keep an eye out for that as well. But other than that, yes, I've just been sweltering and melting away. All my knobs have been melting, so no 11s at all. And yeah, watched Andy's set, great set. Yeah, basically just been pottering around. Other than that, I'm working because I'm up dead early in the morning, so it's a bit of a pain. So I only get a couple of hours in the studio, and that's it at the moment. But other than that, fine, Ranzee, and I'm glad you're better.
Yeah, doing okay now. It was kind of weird because on the Saturday morning, which you guys would have all been sleeping at that stage, I was watching a live stream, which was, we'll talk about this a bit later in the news section. I was watching a live stream by Make Noise, who were launching a new product. I think, Andy, you were watching that with me. And I was fine then, and then it just sort of progressively got worse during the day. So it was weird. Anyway, we shall progress through the show. I think we should have a bit of fun, starting with this. Yes, $2,000 worth of gear, and it sounds like a car alarm. Well, I'm going to make one. I'm going to look. I'm going to make it sound like a doorbell soon. So these guys are doing better than me. And if that really pisses
at least
you
you
off,
can make it to sound something.
yeah, this person's achieving
In the
something.
case of Buchla, it's $20,000.
That's a good one, Eddie. Lots of people don't know this, but time signatures are actually fractional representations of how much music a piece is. For example, anything in 3/4 is 75% music. Same for 6/8, 9/8 is really special, 113% music. And 4/4 is the standard, it's 100% music. So follow me more for music theories. Thanks, Jess, for your stupidity. God, social media, hey? Where do they get these people? What's the side chain triggered by? If it's anything like Chad, it's triggered by memes. That's a good one. I think that was it. No, name a synthesizer. Oh, this is all over social media, this one. That people think is cool, but really isn't. And there's a lot of thought going into this answer. Actually, after you tell me what your favourite meme is, what would that synthesizer be? Does it be this one?
A Timberwolf.
A Timberwolf. Poor Timberwolves. Favourite meme of the week, gents?
Well, that's the other way around for the Timberwolf, isn't it? Everyone thinks it's rubbish, but actually it's really cool.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Everyone missed the boat on
I
that.
thinking of getting one and using it for stuff.
Yeah.
So having the Rhythm Wolf and having the single oscillator from the Timber Wolf, I'm not into the Timber Wolf. It's just not. It's
Yeah. Well, lots of people say that about any synth. I mean, you could throw Electron in there. You could throw DX7s in there. There's love and hate with a whole bunch of stuff.
Timber Wolf. Yeah, but it's kind of.
Oh,
it's not
I'll show
very
you my
variable.
T-shirt, Andy, while we're just there.
Oh,
What does it say?
look at that.
See,
Nice.
Darren's got one of those T-shirt transfer printer things. VP2.
That's his main track on the second album.
Very good, very good. Very good. In the chat, who said what was their favourite meme? Math Genius? Ooh, Math Genius was a good one. Don't go onto social media if you want to look at Math Geniuses. Oh, gosh. There's people walking around universities with cameras asking people questions like, what's 33 plus 77? And everyone's getting it wrong. And I'm just scratching my head thinking, wow, these people are going to university? How did they get through? Yes, good question. How did I get onto YouTube is probably also up there with that question as well. Speaking of which, we should probably do some news. Yes, and the title will be wrong. Yay! And I can't be bothered fixing it.
No, it's
Yeah, but that's the
tradition.
thing now. You've got to
be the
keep
same-
it up that way. Yeah.
There
It
you
would
go.
be the
If
same
you
without
fixed
it. You gotta
people
have
would be
it. You gotta have it.
disappointed.
You get a sneak peek of what's coming. Okay, so we were briefly talking about this, but we didn't mention what it was. Yes, it was the Make Noise XPO. And yes, why don't we do this? All right, can we get on with it? Gentlemen, at Make Noise XPO, I thought this thing was insane. I thought this was really, really cool. A stereo oscillator with stereo pulse width modulation, and it all sort of hooks into all of their kind of new stereo-based modules that they've been bringing out. The QPass, which is a stereo filter and stuff like that. You probably would have seen it briefly. You know, the Mimeophone and you know, all that sort of stuff. And it's just really, really, really clever. So go back to the picture and you can see, take off the titles. We don't need the titles for a sec. You can see that you've got all your standard sort of oscillator functions, plus it's got things like 2 voltage control per octave inputs. Now, I love this idea. Like, forget about everything that this module's about, which is stereo and pulse width modulation and wave folding and stuff like that. Just making an oscillator with 2 voltage per octave inputs is genius, because how many of you out there have got them? Not many. And the benefit of it is that you can put your keyboard into one or a sequencer into one, and the other one can transpose it. So that is actually cool. And that means you don't have to use things like, I forget what to call it. Anyone think of the term? There's a module you need to do that with voltage control. Someone in the chat will tell me. Lost the name of it. But basically, you know, you basically saved yourself a module just with that. Anyway, let's get back to what this is about. So all the different controls on this, like the stereo prismatic oscillator, voltage controlling stereo effects like pulse width modulation and wave folding and variable timbres is actually a really, really great idea. And doing it in the stereo field, I think, is even better. And then once you've got that, I mean, you would have seen in the video, if you guys have seen it, it obviously needs some friends, right? This thing on its own is going to be cool, but it obviously needs some stereo friends to go with it. So obviously you'll need a decent mixer with stereo outputs. You'll need maybe some stereo effects. I definitely recommend using a Make Noise Maths with this, because that thing's insane. And you know, things like cyclic envelopes and things like that really help this sort of thing. In the video, they also use that controller, which I love too. I should get myself one of those. Anyway, what do you guys think? Who's seen this? Who's had a look at this? I know you have, Andy. Did you want to have a quick chat about it? Because you watched the show with me as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it's, I mean, anything Perfect Circuit comes up, I'm going to watch it no matter what, but, because it's my favorite store. But Tony Rolando is just an amazing guy. If you know his history, you know, he lives and works in Asheville. That's where his company is. He used to work at Moog. He started out as kind of just like a tech guy there, and just worked his way up and started his own company. And he's just constantly making amazing stuff. I have a bunch of their modules as well as the Zero Coast and some other stuff. But yeah, stereo modular is a genius idea. I mean, you had quad in the old Buchla days, and even to this day, Suzanne Ciani does quad shows, quadraphonic stuff. But you don't see a lot of stereo stuff except for effects. Yeah, you get stereo effects, or you do panning with your mixer to get the monitor to bounce around and stuff. But to have it stereo in mind all the way through the process, all through the chain, is just way overdue for more people to do this. So I'm really glad he did it. The price wasn't even bad. I think it was like $400 or whatever.
400 US.
So, yeah, I think so. So
actually, I don't think they've set the price. I think that's the guess.
That was the
price.
Estimated.
Yeah.
Estimated, yeah. But
I mean,
it's kind of a no-brainer, especially.
I was just going to say, like you were just mentioning, you know, using stereo mixers. Those mixers that have got CV controls on the panning are rare. So like the Roland System 500 mixer's got one. You know, and you put a weird waveform LFOs into that, and you get some really, really cool effects. So, but an actual oscillator that is actually creating that stereo field it's the generating source. Do you know what I mean? Like everything starts at the oscillator. So whereas what we're used to, what you were saying, Andy, is that we are kind of adding the stereo field after we've generated our sound.
Post. Yeah. This is what makes this interesting. It's like a guitar. You
Well-
run a guitar through an effects pedal and makes it stereo, and a guitar's mono.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, good point. Brooksy, did you get a chance to see this?
No, I haven't seen the video. No, I'd seen it's popped up, but I just haven't got around to watching it. I mean, oddly enough, Make Noise is one of those companies that I tend to go, what, eh? But just watching that, and immediately I was like, oh, because here at the minute on this system, I've got this all patched up so that I have got essentially 2 single oscillator voices, which come in, one left and one right, which are then triggered alternately via the sequential switch. So it gets triggers, and that will alter which one is triggering, and to give a stereo bounce. It's a lot of modules, a lot of things just all chained together, just so that I can go, you know, ping, 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 and it's a great effect. It's really lovely. But I was just thinking, that oscillator, you can do that because it's got the modulations in there. You're going to make it be able to do that. Oh. And suddenly I'm thinking, that's interesting. And it would take up an awful lot less space. All of those modules going across there.
Yeah, it's only
the
18
dual
HP.
oscillator, the dual filter, the dual amplifier, both
Yeah.
envelope generators, all just to make that patch go boom, 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 boom. And it's don't get me wrong, it's lovely, but I'm trying to think of ways of doing it without taking up essentially about 80 something plus HP of rack space. Anyway, so I'm actually really intrigued by it, and I think it sounds mental. Obviously, it has that very much that sort of Make Noise West Coast sort of feel to it, rather than it's got an edge. But I quite like the idea of that. I'm very intrigued by it, but it's going to be another one that goes on the list of things to get to eventually. But you know what it's like in modular.
Interestingly, though, although you say that it's got a bit of the West Coast, it's actually modelled after the Oberheim OB8's voice panning circuit. So it has a bit of an Oberheim sort of.
Well, yeah, having played that at Gearfest a couple of weeks ago, that is just I'm never having sat and played an Oberheim before like that, to sit and play it, just nice pad sounds and things, and just have that movement in the. There were no effects, no reverb, no delay. It was just like that. That was just lush. That was just absolutely lush. So I can understand why they've sort of gone for trying to recreate something like that, because it's a beautiful sound.
Yeah. And the other challenge too is creating sounds without having to use effects is actually a cool thing. So if you've got a generation of sounds that are stereosphere before you have to touch any sort of effects units, and then you're happy with it, you don't need to touch effects. Because sometimes effects can lead to muddiness, it can lead to extra noises, like, especially like the reverbs can be hissy sounding, or the delays. So, that, I think it's a cool thing. Now, one thing I should mention, Andy, if you do get yourself one of these, you'll probably also want to get yourself the CubuSynth as well. And I can't remember if they've stopped making them.
It's still available from Elevator Sounds.
Yeah.
I've just been on Elevator Sounds to look how much the XPO costs, and it's not listed yet because it's probably not available, is it? Just
not until September.
The CubuSynth is still available.
Yeah.
The CubuSynth is still available from them.
Yeah, the CubuSynth is amazing because it's a stereo filter. So it's a cool thing. Yeah. Cool thing. You obviously do need a filter. It's an interesting filter too. It's probably not the type of filter that you would probably be sort of gravitating towards, but actually lately both you and I have been saying that we're kind of getting bored with some of the Roland old vintage sounding filters, and the CubuSynth will probably do it for you in that degree, because it's quite edgy. It's got an edginess about it. Yes. Darren,
have I got enough pennies to stretch to both of those things?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like a month's worth of synth modules, isn't it? Just to get one of them, basically. Yeah. That's not Darren. Sorry. Darren. What do you think of the XPO? Have you had a chance to look at that?
I haven't had a chance to look at it, no. But I was a bit like Andy with Make Noise stuff. It's always like, I don't know. But it looks and sounds very good, actually. The only thing that ever used to put me off with Make Noise, I won't say put me off, because this is just a complete personal view, by the way, because I think Make Noise is great, and I've got the Rose. Is it the Ranzee module anyway? Is their like graphics and everything on it was always a little bit confusing to me, and I always went, it just looks complicated for something that shouldn't be complicated. But this actually doesn't look that bad. The graphics on it actually looks quite easy to understand for people who are not, you know, because when you look at some modules and you've got lots of lines and squiggles and the writing's slightly obscure, and you're not into modular, it's just a little bit hard to work out. And that's what always put me off Make Noise stuff. Not that it wasn't good, just the sort of graphic design.
Yeah.
But this looks okay. It doesn't look too bad to understand that. So
They do tend to write
not
vertically and things, don't they? Whoops.
Yeah, and some of the another line. Whoa,
Sorry, wrong button. I was going to this one. They do tend to write vertically.
I feel like Rave's in the studio, for God's
Sorry.
sake.
I've had a week off. Leave me alone.
Don't press that button. I've told you not to do that. Get off it.
I'll put you up in the corner. There you go. You can keep talking. But what you're saying is, like, for example, how on the module here, you can see that they've written vertically. And you kind of do. You have to sort of tilt your head on the side to look at it.
This one looks, compared to some of them, this looks quite clean and quite easy to follow if you're not into, if you're not a full-on modular nerd, like. But whereas one or two of the modules are like, it just looks like I can't even work out what it is, never mind what it does. So that was my only gripe about Make Noise. So it's nothing about the actual product. It was just my mental state is just not good enough to work out something simple, you see. So I've not really looked into this, so I can't give you an opinion on the actual. It sounds good though, and I like the idea of it.
So that's probably one of their wacky looking modules, the Mimiophone. I love this thing. It's something that I want to get. But that is really,
well, like I say, they have
wacky.
Great modules. It's just sometimes I can never work them out.
That is very wacky. Indeed.
They have kind of an architectural sketch, kind of loose design with the font and the lines and stuff. So
yeah, it's kind of like the what do you call it? The drafts, the drafting engineering sort of drawings, isn't it? Yeah.
Like you did a draft table and just transferred it over. So
that's probably him. He is the engineer, so that's probably just him. Anyway, so Tony did a good job demonstrating that on the live stream at Perfect Circuit. I know it was quite funny because I was talking to one of the guys at Perfect Circuit. I forget who it was, and I was saying, "What's going on? Why is it taking so long?" And they go, "Oh, we're going to have pizza first before we launch the show." And I said, "Oh no, not pizza fingers all over the modules." And
you can eat candy in the store. I mean,
I know they have
a store. You can.
It's a great store. Big shout out to them, by the way. I've bought stuff from them.
You meant the module, though, didn't you? That's what they meant.
Yes. Yes. Okay, well, we were doing news, weren't we? And we kind of went off on a massive tangent. Okay, so we also have this looking thing, the Delta MIDI Model D. I thought this was interesting. Look, there's no videos to show, but I do want to talk about this because I wanted to talk about this last week. I think this is a Kickstarter. Is it it's a Kickstarter project. And at the moment, this is kind of like 3 circuit boards sandwiched together. And what it is if you've got a VST, like for example, the Cherry Audio Model D VST, what this is a controller that brings the hardware features of the Model D to your fingertips. And it's actually pretty cool. They're talking about it. Where's the Kickstarter? It's going to probably be around about €250 on the Kickstarter project if you get in with one of their, early birds or something like that. I don't know if it's for me, but I think it's a cool idea for those who love that sort of hands-on stuff. But yeah, what are they saying? The Kickstarter project itself has just launched, and they are hoping to raise about £13,500, which equates to about 60 to 70 backers. Once they get it, then obviously, this sort of project will go ahead. I hadn't had a look at the Kickstarter page for a week, so let's just have a quick look. They have got, what are we? Probably about halfway there. So let's just get this page up for you guys. They are probably about halfway there. If you guys are interested in backing something like this, I'm always a little bit apprehensive about backing Kickstarters because I've done it before and I've been burnt with a couple. Sorry, I've got this in Australian dollars, but it's halve it for pounds. So you're looking at what, £6,000, and they're looking at about £13,500 goal. So they're about halfway there with 36 backers. 19 days to go. Look, if I've helped you guys in any way, then good. Look, some people are going to like this sort of stuff. There are some more photos too. Where are we? So you can see that's what it looks like. It's kind of like 3 circuit boards joined together. Gold plated, don't know about that. Maybe they don't need to do that. But anyway, who's into that sort of stuff? I know, Andy, you like that sort of MIDI controller sort of funkiness.
I do, but speaking of Kickstarter, I still have like 4 or 5 things pending from the last couple of years.
Yeah, I do too.
It is a risk, and obviously the biggest one is the Osmos. It's not really a Kickstarter, but it's you put your money in and you hope, right? But
you'll never see it again.
Yeah, and if I use the Moog VST stuff more, that would make sense. But having the Behringer Model D and some other Moog stuff already with knobs, I probably won't get this. But
yeah, it's very niche, isn't it? Like, it's like one synth that you would need to use this for, and then when you don't want to use it, you'd be putting that thing in the cupboard. What do you think, Darren? Is that something that you'd be looking at doing?
I think I've gone very dark and all that.
Yes.
It's not what I would probably get. I think it's, like you say, it's very niche because it's you're pretty locked into that, really, aren't you? I mean, it's not. I don't know. I mean, it's a good idea, and I think it looks great, actually. Whoa, what's going on? I'm having a moment here. Rave, how are you?
There you go.
coming back.
You want to be lighter? There you go. You're lighter.
Wow. Yeah, it's not for me. It's a bit niche. I'm not really sure what to add to it, actually. Looks okay. It looks fine. Like you say, it's. I'm gonna have to turn this light up a bit, I think. It's all these bloody balloons. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's the balloons. Just don't pop any because Dave is he'll come in and he'll have another head injury, won't he? Yeah. Brooksy, yeah. I know you're kind of not really into the VST stuff as much, but what do you think? Is that a smart move? Like, in terms of a business move, is that a smart move, just designing a controller for a type of VST?
It's been done before, hasn't it? With different things, like there was, I think, for the Imposca, there was one there's different controllers and editors for different synths. It's not really a new idea. If they can get enough people, then it'll work, I suppose. I think it looks lovely, but it is just a controller for one thing, and I think people might find it better just to buy a more generic controller and organize it the way they want, like you were doing earlier with the Roland. So I don't think it would be something that I'd be looking at, but I do think it's a very attractive looking piece of kit.
Yeah, nice gold plated. Yes. Okay. Well, moving on. What else we got?
The good news is, being a general MIDI controller, you can remap everything, and if you want to make overlays, which isn't that much work, you could. So. Yeah,
but inherently it's very Model D laid out. So,
sure.
What I kind of think, maybe it's a miss of the boat here, but like, if I had to grab the Model D, like if Behringer, when they built this thing, if they had a digital, layer underneath that would have been, dual usage. But it's all analog. There's no digital connection to that stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, that would have been cool. Roland kind of do that with their they're boutiques. Like one of the things I really, really wished Roland did, and that was with their JX03, which was the JX3D boutique version, it would have been so cool if they enabled that to actually control an original JX 3D, because they need the PG, the PG 300 for that, right? So that would have saved a lot of people some money trying to source a PG 300 or an aftermarket version of the. So that sort of stuff, I kind of feel is interesting. Right, what else we got? We have got, I think there's one more thing. I thought this was interesting. This is the CubuSynth Engine. Now the CubuSynth, actually there's two more things. The CubuSynth Engine is a dual analog VCO with Chaos. You can see in the middle. I'm just going to close that title down so you guys can see.
It's got lights on it, so that's mine.
Yeah, you're going to like it, Darren. The Chaos is at the center, and there's a complex wavefolding dual cross modulation feature on this. So it's a nice black looking module, right? And it looks very, 747 cockpit sort of controls like, it looks very, very interesting. But just to let you know, it's got a CEM 3340 based oscillator. So that's the Roland SH101 type oscillator. Has two independent VCOs, which has 4 waveform outputs plus variable wave folder output and its own knob and a CV control. You can select which waveform you'd like to be folded on a 4-way switch. And there is a hard and soft sync, linear and exponential FM, pulse width modulation on the square wave. As a regular VCO, it can also have 2 of everything you need, which is good. So it works like 2 oscillators as well. The Chaos thing, it's what they're talking about, the Chaos thing. If you kind of want to make it a little bit more complex, the Chaos engine can dial in some semi-random shift register values to things like pulse width modulation and the FM side of it. Now this is interesting. So the signals are clocked from VCO1 and based on VCO2, so they are nicely interconnected. Then you can actually clock these externally, and they can keep sort of modulations to some sort of external rhythmic clock, which I think is kind of an idea there that sort of, if you get the beats out of an oscillator beating with the other oscillator when it's syncing, if you can clock that's actually a very, very cool idea. So I kind of want to have a listen to that. And I actually haven't had much of a chance to listen to that yet. So what we're going to do is see if there's a video. And I think there is. But there's an ad right now, so I just have to wait for the ad to finish. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Would have been nice if they showed like an oscilloscope next to this. Some decent outputs on this too, down the bottom there. Now I think this bit is the 1 versus 2. I want to get to the point where he's doing the beating. Here we go, here's the chaos. Anyway, I think you guys can check that video out later and have a little look through. I think it's kind of a lot of expected stuff out of the, it's basically really just, it's just, syncing two oscillators and then FM exponential, what you would expect to sort of see out of that. But having that sort of CV control of those controls is actually a nice little thing. I kind of feel that I've seen an oscillator do this before, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head what that would have been. Someone in the chat might know, actually. Yeah. So, who wants to have a little quick word about this one? The CubuSynth Engine, it's called. Brooksy?
Looks nice.
Darren?
Yeah, random's always good. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very nice. I like the design of it. It looks very, a nice sleek module. I'd have to have a lot more listen to it, and and it's got lights on it, so it's mine, isn't it? It's lights, lots of lights. I just have a rack of lights. I don't care if they do anything, just so that in the side of the studio it just looks fantastic. Can't use it, but that's not the point. It just looks good.
Yeah.
Let's rescue it quick. Brooksy, what do you thought?
How much was it? Did you say? I can't remember whether you did.
I didn't say, and you're looking at $399 US.
So it's right up against that Make Noise one.
Yep.
And for a little bit more, you can get into the 4MS spherical wavetables, shapy, modelly, doodly, booly thing, which is really quite fascinating. Actually, that's a bit more. That's about 500 quid. But yeah, I don't know. To me, that didn't immediately sound as appealing as the Make Noise one. And although it can probably do similar things, I wasn't. There's just like a lot of these things. There's just so much going on in it. It's like what is going on in there? There's just such a lot. My head. I'd have to go in, have another look, and sort of try and process it a lot more. I thought Robbie's comment earlier about when will modular manufacturers make musical demos. Oh, Robbie, what are we going to do with your chat?
I've just linked the video in the chat. You guys can go watch that. By the way, and I don't usually have to link the videos. If you are wondering, the videos of everything that I show is going to be in the blog article, which is on the Ranzee.com website after every show. It's usually about 12 or so hours after the show airs, sometimes a bit longer, depending on when I get up from bed and decide to finish editing the blog post. But somewhere around there. So you'll be able to find all that stuff then. Now, Andy, this was kind of expected, the sound. So what are we trying to achieve here with this module, do you think?
Well, I'm just happy to have random on stuff. I mean, randomizers on a patch creator and randomizers on a module. It's always a nice thing to add a little spice to stuff. Now, as people said, the demo wasn't that exciting, and to be fair, most demos of these things aren't made by demo experts, and they're also not musical because they're not made by musicians. They're made by modular tweakers. For the most part. I mean, Tony Orlando does great music, actually, and he also makes modules. But not everybody's in that camp. They just like to noodle and make crazy sounds and stuff, which is kind of what I was doing for years with samplers before I made any goddamn music. But so it's fun, and you get lost in that territory, and that's part of what makes modular so appealing. Is it's a sound lab. It's a scientific crazy ass experiment. But it is nice to have musical stuff. So I think initial demos often aren't musical. Just they want to show features and extremes. So you go, oh, that thing does that crazy sound I didn't have on something else. Unfortunately, this demo didn't go that crazy. So
absolutely not.
They probably could have done they could have done a better job making it more appealing to the extreme side of it. instead of sounding like, oh, it sounds like these 3 modules put together, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's a fairly big module too, so you're giving up a lot of HP for something that probably could be pretty nice and interesting and weird, that in a demo you're not sold on it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good
they
point.
kind of did themselves a disservice. Yeah.
Maybe, but you know, let's get it in the hands of musicians. I think that's probably more the point. A couple of things I didn't mention about it before we move on to the next. It does track stably over 10 octaves, which is quite rare for an oscillator to track so many octaves. Usually they're around 5 or so, and sometimes more, but 10 octaves is pretty decent. And also, for those who like to get the soldering iron out, you can actually buy this as a kit for somewhere around the vicinity of 55 to 199 euros. So that 399 US or euro price was for the fully built, assembled module for those who don't like to do that stuff. Now it's absolutely started pelting down with rain here.
Wow.
Serious rain.
Wow, that's a monsoon.
That's more like hail.
Oh, I'll tell you what, speaking of rain, today I took my daughter to netball and we literally were holding umbrellas horizontally because the rain was like blowing into us, and you know, in the end we just gave up. And as we were walking away from the netball court, my shoe was underwater because the water that had just landed in that 15 minutes of rain that we had filled up. The netball courts have got drains and everything. They're not like flat. There's slopes, and there was just so much water that just hit the ground. Never been wet so quickly in my life, unless you jumped straight into a swimming pool. Right, and it's probably doing the same right now. So our swimming pool at the back is probably overflowing. Next is the, what happened to my photo of this? I've lost it. Or did I forget to put it in? Probably forgot to put it in.
Sounds like your white noise module is going crazy.
No, I think I've just forgotten to put the photo into here. So why don't we just look at it this way? So this is the let's do it that way. This is the Euphoria. It's a DIY analog synthesizer from ST Modular. It's coming soon. It's a semi-modular analog desktop synth featuring a dual complex oscillator characterized by a simple and clear operation and uncompromised sound. It does feature 2 analog oscillators, the 2 voltage-controlled oscillators with classic waveforms, wave shapers, sub-octaves, and noise sources, convenient sliding potentiometers, which you see in the drawing. I'll give you a better view in a sec. It has 2 sequences, which I find interesting. Plays 5-step trigger and CV sequencer, and an additional 4-step CV sequencer. You can transpose and change the length of sequence and control the tempo via CV, add a swing or sequence manually with the push of a button. It has oscillator mix and vary boards, seamlessly blend the oscillators manually or by CV, insert external audio and pass it through the filters or internal reverb. The vary boards are interchangeable boards, each offering different functionality. So choose the vary board that meets your requirement. I'll talk about that in a sec. It's also got dual low-pass gate, VCA and ADSR. It has some modulation tools, for example, internal CV controllable LFO with the Buchla 281E inspired function generator. So therefore you can do things like multiply and invert and amplify your signals with buffered, multiple and additional DC coupled VCA. And as I mentioned before, it's got a reverb module on it. So I think it's digital, the reverb thing, but it's got like an analog spring tank sound or a digital reverb brick sort of sound. Right, now, let's go back to me while I sort of tee up this video. I think this is the video here. Me, not them, me. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I do the video in here? You guys don't know the answer to that question. Another ad. YouTube. Do you not make enough money, Google? What is your problem?
You got to go YouTube Pro, right?
Yeah, here we go. Turn the lights on, guys. We want to see this thing. I'm just going to go quickly to the demos. Alright, so obviously the video will be linked into the blog article. There's a better image of it. I wish they would turn the lights on these videos so you can actually see what they're doing a bit more. The demos are pretty good though. It's more about, by the way, when you are listening to the demos, they're showing you the features of the sequencer that's built into it, so it's not necessarily a full-on musical demo. It's more about the features of it. But you can see there, sequential voltages, primary oscillator, secondary oscillator, kind of interesting. By the way, you can use this as two separate oscillators too, from what I worked out, which I found quite interesting. Now the Very board, as I mentioned before, is an interchangeable breakout board that opens up some functions that are hidden behind the panel. You can enable different functions depending on what you want to use and how they behave. The functions include the sequencer, hold, LFO reset, sample and hold options, and there's another board that features quad LFO module and crossfade. Apparently there are other boards that they are thinking about. You can also build this yourself. So this is not like the snap together Moog Mavis type thing, or even the recent Dreadbox kits. This will be 14 individual circuit boards and a front panel, and then you have to go off and source the rest of your components yourself if you want to do it that way. You'll have choices on how to make things like the Very board, and there's like GitHub, I think, type things where you can actually even invent your own stuff on that. So, who wants to have a comment about the ST Modular Euphoria?
It's a buckler, isn't it? Basically,
Yeah.
That's really what it's inspired by. It's very buckler-esque. The fact that it's not got VCF, it's got low-pass gates, the 5-step sequencer, that's all very buckler. I thought it sounded really interesting, actually. I really like the sound of that. The little bits later on where they were doing the sort of deeper, sort of slightly growlier sounds. I think it looks great. Could I be bothered trying to build one? Oh, no way. And if it's 600 quid for the kit, which I think is what Wagyu was saying a bit earlier up in the chat.
600 euros, yep. Yep.
So whatever it costs to buy one that's already made, you're going to be looking at well over 1,000. But it's a specialist thing, isn't it? Looks great, sounds great. I hope they're successful, but I think it's probably very niche.
Yeah. Now
I'm just a bit under there.
Shout out to Strahan from CubuSynth. If you do want to get this, you'll be able to get it through him in LA, or if you're living in your neck of the woods, Brooksy and Darren, you'll be able to get it through Pusherman Productions.
All right, yeah, Pusherman.
In the UK. So if you're wondering, Pusherman are pretty good. I did my oscilloscope module through him, Plum Audio one. So yeah. Andy, is that something that you'd be interested in?
There was a time when I used to make stuff out of electronic project magazines, and it was good times and mixed results, Craig Anderton books and all that. I'm not doing all that soldering stuff anymore. I have a couple things to work on, a couple small things that I bought that are assembly only, but they're very simple projects, so I'll eventually get to those. But a big project like this, I mean, you look at Molten Modular, he still hasn't finished, as far as I know, he still hasn't finished his Decker.
Yeah, Robin. Yeah, he hasn't.
Still building it.
And it takes forever. And he knows what he's doing because he has a lot of experience. So I love West Coast stuff, the bookless stuff. So the sound is wonderful. If the assembled version weren't too expensive, it's definitely something to consider. But yeah, I wouldn't buy one to assemble it. There's no way.
Yeah, the last module that I built by hand using a soldering iron was the oscilloscope module, which is that one. That's a Plum Audio Pusherman sourced project. And yeah, I kind of agree. I think unless you do this sort of stuff and you enjoy it, if you've got better things in life to do, like make music, that may not be the way to go. You can always,
it's kind of like I used to tinker with operating systems.
With Strahan in CubuSynth, he'll make it for you. That's the thing I like about him. He'll just make it for you. So, that would probably be a little bit more expensive than the parts and everything. Of course, you have to pay him for his time and labour, but he's making modules by the thousands. That guy, so he makes a lot of the clone mutable instrument stuff.
I'm not familiar with him, but sometimes those guys charge a lot of money for the assembly.
Well, he made the Ranzee for me, which is the rings clone. That's that one there. That's a CubuSynth. You can see CubuSynth there. I've got a couple of his stuff. I've got the Typhoon as well. So does a good job.
I look at it kind of like, being an IT guy and having played with operating systems for decades with all different flavors. I used to play with all the bleeding edge stuff. It was a lot of fun, but now I just want to do things. I don't want to tinker as much as I used to.
Yeah. I think something like this though, this is pretty niche-y sort of stuff. If you kind of really wanted that sound and that sort of functionality, you'd be jumping on it, because the amount, €600 is actually not that bad if you knew what you were doing and you had the time to put it together. That's who that's aimed at. It's not aimed at us. It's aimed at those sort of guys. If you go to those modular sort of meetups, there's plenty of those guys around.
I would say it's worth looking at the tip-top modules, though. They are beginning to get the full range out now.
The Buchla stuff, yeah.
I don't know if there's a sequencer in it actually, but certainly the oscillator, the function generators, and things, they really do look interesting, and they're not stupidly expensive. So.
Yep, indeed. That's it for news for the week. Sorry, Darren, to disappoint you. I hope that none of those purple balloons were popped on that major disappointment.
Deflating.
It was a lot of modular, but it's almost like it's oscillator week, isn't it? Don't you think? It's kind of like oscillator week, and it's weird how things happen like that. I find in this world that we live in, like things are sort of coming out in groups, and it's not planned. Like these companies wouldn't know these other companies from a bar of soap. You know what I mean? Like they're completely unrelated, and it's just I just find it strange how we had a show where we talked about. I mean, really, that last thing we showed is an oscillator as well, right? So it's like 3 oscillators in one show. Yes, right. What are the chatties saying? Lots of people screaming at me. Who's screaming at me? No one. Okay, good. As long as people don't scream at me, I'm happy. Okay, why don't we...
Wagyu just said he's ordered all the tip-top Buchla ones, but he's only got 2 so far.
Right.
Is that the oscillator and the function generator, Wags? Just out of interest.
I think I kind of feel. I mean, obviously, I don't have money right now to be buying this stuff, but I kind of feel like I'd be one of these guys that I don't at the moment. I don't feel the need to be buying any Buchla stuff. But one day I'm going to be like, why the hell didn't I get it like down the track? So yeah. Anyway, let's press this button. Ooh. Now, being away for a week means that we've got lots of this stuff to show. Starting off with this. Now, this is Australian dollars, 3,200, 3,300 pounds-ish, around there. Near mint condition. Look, if someone told me, oh, geez, what are we talking about? Say 2008, that a Juno 60 would be worth 6,500 Australian dollars. I would have bought 50 of them. Seriously. Like, I'd be like, yep, just put them in the cupboard and let it sit there for 10 years and sell them again. I guess it's getting insane, isn't it? This is in the US, and hello to those people in Utah. Yeah. Interesting place to be. Would you guys pay, what is that, the better part of $4,000 to $4,500 US for a Juno 60?
No.
No.
Yeah.
The JU06A is perfectly fine. It just has less voices.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to get a lot of people pissed off, but the Juno synths do have a very limited range of timbre possibilities.
It's true. Yeah,
and you'll get to the point, if you own one of these, you'll get to the point where you get sick of it. It's
I never get sick of me sick though.
But it's one of those synths that you won't find endless possibilities in. That's kind of what I'm saying. But it's still beautiful. I'm not knocking it at all.
You'll use it for what it's good at.
Yeah, exactly.
You know those lovely brass, those lovely string sounds, that the bass. I mean that's what they do really nicely.
And the chorus is good too.
Always have.
The chorus is beautiful. I love the chorus on this. Okay, what else we got? Now I had to put this in because I thought, look, this is not like a scammy sort of price. It's definitely overpriced. Don't get me wrong. $1,000 for a Tetra, I think is a bit rich, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Dave Smith stuff is starting to do this now that he's bless his soul, he's moved on. But yeah, hold on to your sequential and Dave Smith gear, people. This could be the start of things. It might be. Look, this guy is saying that it was used by the likes of Radiohead. Clever little bit of advertising in that title. This particular one was not used by Radiohead. It was just used, the actual synth itself was used by Radiohead.
Yeah, it's Johnny
People
Greenwood,
like
right?
Radiohead.
yeah, people like Radiohead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And louder than liftoff, silver bullet stereo tone amp. This guy, he put this listing in 14% price drop too. And he originally, he's edited it because I think someone raged at him. He wrote in his listing, it's brand new, never been used. And like, hello, we're looking at it sitting in a rack. It's been used. You idiot.
It's switched on.
It's switched on. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do people get away with these days? It's crazy. He did actually take it out though. I was a bit pissed off because I wanted to show that. Yeah. But I mean, has everyone got a silver bullet stereo tone amp? Apparently they're pretty nice. So I don't know if I'd spend the better part of almost £2,000 on something like that. That's for sure. Yeah.
Stereo bullet tone. Is it just a stereo compressor limiter thing?
It's there's something about the overdrivey sort of sound of this that people do like it's loud. But Wagoo's saying he's never heard of it. There you go, you've heard of it now. I could probably even get the listing up actually.
There looks a bit of purple or pink on there, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Dave might want it.
Hey, what number do the knobs go to?
Yeah, that's a good point. They could go to 11. And if they do, we are in trouble, everybody. I'm just going to get this Reverb listing up actually because it's live. Look at that. Look at that. There we go. Yes, get away with your stupid message. What are they saying about it? People talk a lot about how analog summing can make a big difference to a mix, and it's true that using a summing mixer can make a huge difference. You can spend a lot of money on a box. Yeah, like that amount, idiot. Anyway, that's basically what this does. it is not going to happen very quick. But you guys can check out that listing. It's in Montreal in Canada. Hello to all the Canadians watching. Yeah. Louder Than Liftoff is proud to introduce the Silver Bullet, a unique collaborative effort between Louder Than Liftoff and industry veteran Dr. Bill that marries Dr. Bill's vintage tone amp experimentations with Louder Than Liftoff's modern design approach and aesthetic. Modern design approach and aesthetics, eh? Yes. Okay. Right. Anyway. Oh, this stuff just keeps getting... It just writes itself.
People pay that for SSLs, don't they? So.
True. What else we got? I think you sent this one in, didn't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Rolling Stone, Bill Wyman's Yamaha Super DX7. Sounds like that. 1986 to 1990. I think that's when they were made. Why don't you say when?
What's super about it?
The Super DX7 was different to the DX7, right? It was the
Is it the grey matter, or is it the?
Did you have it written in your list? Did you have a copy of that listing still, or is that gone now? Is that on Reverb?
That's
Reverb, isn't it?
Yeah, it was on Reverb. Yeah, it should still be there. I'm sure nobody bought it.
I'll have to ask Manny. Manny, what's a Super DX7? Failed user says there was no Super DX7. Ooh. Super Max board? ?
I thought there was a DX7 called a Super DX7 that is a non Yamaha standard thing.
Yeah, Super Max expansion board. Manny and Robbie have said that. So
I can't find the listing. I think it's gone. I've just had a look. Sorry.
Or is is it just an adjective like it's lovely?
It's super
lovely.
Yeah. His adjectives are stuck in the 80s, I think. What about this one?
Totally spiffing.
Tell us about this one, Andy.
It's TX816.
Yeah, Robbie brought this up on Kent Spong's Spong Arms show.
Spongy's back, is he?
It's just funny. He's back, which is great. It's just funny because they're getting quite pricey now. But it's not. I'm not a big fan of the interface of it. I know it's really powerful as far as having them all stacked together, which is great. But I saw the Espen Craft video and I wasn't really sold on the practical use of it. But it does sound really good when you stack them all. So
fair enough. I have no idea what it does. Does it make FM
It's
sounds?
just a bunch of DX7s and it's several DX7s in a card system. So if you have it full,
so that's more super.
Each one of those cards, that is super. Yeah.
So what is it? 6 DX7s?
Yes.
8. Looks like it might be 8.
8 DX7s. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So
don't
Robbie
you
was saying
have,
they used to sell them in 2s and 4s and 6s and 8s. You could buy it in different ways.
What's that rack thing that you've got that's got multiple DX7s in it? Or is it not you that has it? Someone else might have it.
I have a TX802 and I have a TX7. A few other things. DX21, but no multiple DX7s.
Okay. There's a DX7 here with lots of voices because it's a DX7 II. By the way, I can't stand the membrane controls on the original DX7. I can't stand them. It just horrible. Bad choice from Yamaha, which is one of the reasons why I really, really like the DX7 II, because just to show you who, these are not membranes. These are like, tactile buttons. Yeah. Now, next thing we're going to do, because we're going to go back to the DX7 in a minute, we need to roll this stinger, because we haven't had this for a little while. Yes, brought to you by Plugin Guru, who makes Unify one of the best VSTs you'll ever need if you do a lot of stuff in the box, because you probably want to, you know, manage your patches, stack and layer them, different soft synths going at the same time in one sound. Unify is for you. We're going to check that out in a little bit, but what I thought I'll do is I'll queue up the video. Now, a couple of rules here. You can win Unify, obviously, if you get this right, but the rules are, this is going to be a video that we're going to play, and it's going to have a synth playing in it. Now, the synth is going to be obscured by visuals, but the visuals are probably of that synth, and the sound is just coming straight out the back of the synth. So there won't be any external effects, but if the synth itself does effects, that may be part of what you're hearing. So use your ears. I'm going to give you guys the length of this video, plus I'm also going to give you another 30 seconds afterwards. Please put your guesses in chat. Try only guess once, please. That would be kind of fair. Don't try and guess more than once. If you do have a guess, I don't think we should be accepting your second guess. All right, everyone ready?
Ooh, new rules.
Yeah, I kind of feel it. I kind of feel like you should just have one good guess.
It's clamping down on you guys.
I think that's pretty fair. All right, I think we are ready to go. Just try and get the video to play. Here we go.
Muted.
You're muted.
Muted, Ranz.
Any guesses after me, it says time is up, is bad luck for you. So in the chat, you guys can see where I've said time is up right there, and no more guesses. Thank you very much, everyone, for playing. There was not that many people who were guessing today. So why don't we find out what it was? Yay!
Well done, Brett.
Well done by Makeshifter for the video too. So fantastic for sending that in, and all the effort that he went to put that together. And by the way, I absolutely love the Ensoniq ESQ1 because I've got one, and mine's a bit poorly at the moment though. But there you go. Look at that beautiful picture there. Isn't that a synth of beauty? One of the things I love about the ESQ1, what the hell is that thing that he's got down the end? Is that some sort of cartridge add-on thing, is it?
Is it a USB replacement for the disk drive?
No, they've got a cartridge in them.
There are a bunch of different cartridge systems for it. I have a 16-in-1. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what Chris had said the same thing. What's the huge box? Yeah, ESQ1, one of my favourite synths of all time. One of the reasons why I love the ESQ1 is because the guy that designed it is the same guy that designed the SID chip from the Commodore 64. There you go, if you didn't know that. And it's got a lot of analog warmth because it's got analog filters in it. So it's a really, really beautiful synth.
A 4 EEPROM cartridge.
Their whole
of his own
lineage is
design.
great.
So I think Brett was the first.
Just told us. Yeah, he was. Mr. Lemmings, well done.
So I don't know what to do with Brett. Brett's already won. Yeah. Brooks, are you a second?
It's me then, but I have as well, and I passed it on to somebody else. So, right, rolls over. Makeshifter gets it.
Yeah, let's give it to Makeshift. I think he's already won too, hasn't he?
No idea.
I'm just reading the chat quickly here. Yeah, 4 EEPROM cart. Yeah, so of his own design. There you go. Let's have another look at that. Wow, clever man. Tell us a little bit more about your cartridge design. We like it. EEPROM design, yeah. I mean, these things are full of EEPROMs. The whole synth is basically full of EEPROMs. Felt musos. I'll have it. Yeah. On your Robbie. Right. We'll have to work out what we're going to do about that. You can't have two unified licenses. But let's have a quick look at because we've got to give Skippy a plug. You know, he's doing us a solid by giving us the prize each week, and you know, it's good on him for doing that. This is Plugin Guru. This is their website, if you're wondering, and Unify is their flagship VST product. Just waiting for that to load. Come on, there we go. So value of 79 US is what it's worth. But yeah, we are going to get him on the show. Look at all the stuff that it supports. Look at all that. There's constant updates to this. He does live streams too on the Plugin Guru channel. You should guys check him out. Has some really, really cool guests as well. So big shout out to Skippy if he's watching. He's actually streamed just not that long after mine, isn't it, Andy? Because he streams sort of in the middle of the day, doesn't he? It's definitely on the Saturday.
Anybody?
Which one?
Skippy, John's stream. Plugin Guru.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Makeshifter said it's an Atmel or AVR based project that emulates up to 4 virtual EEPROMs for the ESQ, which is for patches. Of course it is. He has a blog article explaining more. I need to remember what the link is. Send us the link. You can send it to me via email or through the Discord, and I'll be able to paste it in to the show and we can actually have a look at it. Obviously, you don't need to load patches to your ESQ1 via cartridge. You can load them via SysX as well. So it's not like the only way to do it. But yeah, that's actually really nifty. Send us the link via email or via Discord, and I'll, if you find it, and we'll chuck it in and have a look.
It's really handy. There's so many great sounds. You want to have them right there instead of a computer all the time.
Yeah, so if you send it to SysX, you've got to use a library manager like MIDI Essentials or something like that. So, which is a bit of a pain. But if you guys ever get your hands on an ESQ1, keep it, because I reckon they're going to start going up in price, those synths, those and Sonic synths. The SQ80 is probably more of the sought after one because it's got the polyphonic aftertouch on it. Quite an interesting way that they implemented the polyphonic aftertouch on the SQ80 too. It's kind of like a magnetic system. Got a cough.
And
Sorry about
as
that.
for sound, they call it the poor man's PPG wave. So,
Yeah, I don't know if I like that, because it's kind of not really. It's kind of like
get stuff like it out of it though, and the analog filters and so.
Yeah, what I like about it is because it's some of the sounds out of it, the digital sort of oscillator type sounds out of it are so like low bit ratey, so edgy and harsh. When that actually goes through the analog filters, it really it's picking all these harmonics out, especially if you do filter sweeps with resonance and stuff on this, which makes it sound really interesting. And
I get some great clangorous kind of sounds out of it. It's really nice.
yeah. Here we go. We've got an email from Makeshifter. Let me just get this blog article up. Hey. Awesome. Let's show the blog article on the ESQ1 mod. What brilliant thing. What an absolutely brilliant thing. Let's go to here. Makeshifter, what a good thing you've done here. I will definitely be linking that into the chat right now so everyone can see. There is the blog article. Let's have a quick look. So you've gone through like a whole bunch of, wow. The PM320, look at that. That's really cool.
How many can it hold?
Four cartridges, he said, I think.
4 cartridges.
I can't remember how many patches a cartridge holds in total, but 4 times that.
Cartridges, 2 banks. I think.
Yeah, 2 banks of what though? I think is it 32?
2 banks of 32.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was doing testing with this and he had some failed attempts. Wow. I love this sort of stuff. Well done, mate. Well done. Yeah, he did good.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. All right. We've gone through all the general segments and everything. So it's time for DX7 mucking around, isn't it? What time is it? How long have we been streaming for? Oh, we could do about another 15 minutes of DX7s. DX7-esque. What sounds have we got on this thing? How loud is that?
It's all right, that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a analog phaser sound. Let's do... I just don't know if my phaser's turned on right now.
I hear it, laser.
You can hear it?
Oh,
It's definitely turned on.
what noise? There is some movement. Oh. Has Dave turned up at your house there, man?
Sorry, I'm just banging stuff around.
It'd be a bit to be had.
I kind of feel like we're not getting any effects out of this thing right now.
Oh, it's there now.
That's the multi-tap delay, so that's digital.
Starting to sound like the Rainbow Machine.
Let's try a different patch. What's that one called? That one was called Ensemble. I kind of feel like those effects aren't working, so I'm going to try a different patch. Okay. All right, let's...
Is that a ROM card or a RAM card you have in there?
The cartridge.
Yeah.
Can't remember. I think it might be ROM.
Because those have gone up too. Damn things.
Right, what sound do we want to pipe this thing through? Problem I've got, if I do it through the Rachel, the ring mod, I'm going to need to trigger it somehow, and I can't trigger it from here because it's too far away. I need to set up some sort of MIDI thing. How am I going to trigger it? We might be able to do some skullduggery with MIDI and sequences. Let's see if this works. All right, we'll turn off the kick drum. Okay. Now, if I can get this thing to work, I'll be a happy man. Signal input. Where is this thing coming out? Oh, I think that was the thing that I just took out, wasn't it? So that's this. Right. Okay. We're not getting any sound, are we, guys? No.
Oh. That's not cool, though.
I know what I'll do. Easiest one to do will be to put it through the Juno 106 chorus. Okay. That would be nice. What should we choose? Not trumpet. Not
Like
phases.
a strings patch.
Like a strings patch again? So that's the type 1 chorus. Without it, with it. We've got some other effects going through, haven't we? Where is that going into? Let me turn off all the effects so that it's just the chorus. So let's try the type 2. And I'll turn it off. On.
That type 2 is nice.
Let's try a different patch.
That sounded like Tangerine Dream soundtrack stuff.
Oh yeah. That's definitely TD, isn't it?
Right, let's try that with type 1. It's like type 1 diabetes. It's not a very nice patch, is it? What about a bassy sound? That's clipping, isn't it? I kind of feel I've mucked up the channels here. That seems to be clipping to me. The thing with analog gear is you have to constantly sort of muck around with it. I'll just get to the module that I was just playing with. Just give me a second. Sorry, the light is really shining on that. So that's this module here. Juno 106 chorus. I'll do the type 2. All right, we interesting, isn't it? All right, so what else can we put this through? Have you ever kind of wanted to put a DX7 through an analog filter?
Oh yes. What about that dystopia module?
The dystopia module is not plugged in.
Noise cushion.
That's what I do with my DX200. It has a built-in filter on the box.
All right, so we can go in. And then we'll unplug that. And what do you want to go to? Bit crusher sound. Sorry, I'm making an absolute mess of my modules here.
Oh, you broke the DX7.
I should put the DX7 up in the corner so you guys can see me. Here we go. Choose a different patch. Just give me a sec, I'm just going to move the thing down a bit for you guys. Sorry. But technically that's not very analog, right? So, yeah. What else can we do? We can go in, let's use this System 100 phase shifter thing, okay? So, let's try the phase shifter itself. Here we go, and we'll pick that sort of stringy sound again.
There you go.
Just need to move the camera over a little bit. There is reverb and delay on that. If you guys want me to turn it off, let me know in the chat. Can you keep an eye on the chat for me, Brooksy, please?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Let's get some real FM-y type sounds, right? Because that...
It's not really giving the phaser enough to chew on, is it?
There's nothing the phaser can do with that, is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the audio delay? Let's try that. Underneath. Ooh. Nasty. Nasty. Oh.
Wow.
Sorry.
Skinny puppy.
Whoop, I think the hearing aid's gone.
Yeah, it's definitely working now.
That's doing a bit more.
That's 80s TD for sure, right there.
Yeah. A live miles.
It's almost making it sound analogy, isn't it? That. It's kind of giving a bit of a... Clever stuff. I wouldn't say that was very
cool, right?
I wouldn't say that was very clever stuff at all. I reckon we need to put that into a thingamy over here.
You have an effects page you can run it through, so you have a different algorithm?
I do.
Yeah.
It's Björk.
Now I'm just playing around with this multi-tap delay now. Let's see if we can get some feedback happening. Here we go. This is really just whistling at me now, isn't it? All right, what else do we want to try, people? An FM, let's just go over here for a sec. Analog filter, right? So we need a constant VCA happening, which we can do. Right, so we'll go into the, which one's which here? Okay, that one is probably where we want to go. And where's the output of that going to? God, this is all patched up to something else, and I'm probably going to make this very hard for myself. I think this is sequencing something. What is it sequencing though? Output is going to here. Okay.
This is where I like modular.
I would say you just need an SQ1 on top of the DX7, and then you can just run the little sequence.
Here we go. Now I kind of feel that's very quiet. Hang on.
Manny's making a suggestion that you get the brightest sound on the DX you can find to give the filter plenty of frequencies to
Like a
on.
bell sort of sound.
Or even just like a bright sustained brass thing that you put it into a filter. Can you get that sequencer then to gate the filter in a rhythm while you're holding chords down?
You mean the sequencer? I need to disable that though. But I can.
Oh no!
Oh,
I'll send
jeopardy.
Dave over if you want. He'll unplug everything.
Right, here we go. No, I just want it louder. All right, now let's get the filter happening on this. Okay. You'll just hear it sort of pumping the VCA right now.
Yeah.
This is kind of where we are.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm just playing with the envelope generator here. Let's see if we can get a different patch. Some steel cans. That's not very good. I'm just trying to find out where that sequence is. Okay, here we go. All right, let's try a different bank. This are really quick envelopes. Anyway, interesting experiments with FM to analog filters. I definitely think that's interesting. To do the ring mod, that's what we wanted to do, which I kind of feel is a bit pointless, but because as you guys know, FM can do ring mod. But anyway, it is an analog ring mod. Let's take that out. Okay, ring mod will be Rachel. So, like I said before, I think Rachel is being triggered by something else. So, if I put that straight into Rachel, I then need to work out where this is going out from. So, VCA, VCF, VCA. It's going through that. Okay. And the output is going where? It's going into there. Sorry, just give me a second. I'm just trying to work out where all this is going to. Okay, found it. We have got the output. Now,
it's all that hiss from the DX7.
No, the hiss is probably from the punk module because it's literally all maxed out.
I see.
And I need to trigger that somehow. Hang on. Oh, I know what's going wrong. I've disconnected that, haven't I? Sorry. It doesn't seem to be... It doesn't seem to be affecting the ring mod at all because... Why not? Yeah, I'm going to have to, I'll probably have to revisit this with a different patch because I'm going to need to somehow patch MIDI from this into a MIDI to CV module, which I've got, and then I'll have to because I need to trigger the envelope on Rachel at the same time I'm pressing the notes on the keyboard, and I can't do that with what I've got set up here. It's going to take me too long. You guys are just going to be listening to me clicking in stuff. What else can we do? What does it sound like just as an FM synth? Was someone's question. With some effects. Still works. Even after all these years, look at this. Still works. Isn't that a cool thing? What's this synth? 1980. Robbie, where are you? 1980 what?
6 for the Mark II, was it?
You have to really press it though, like almost
like the D50.
Yeah, I think this is worse than a D50 though.
I remember the first time I tried the D50 press me strings and pressure me strings, whatever, and you go, where the hell is it? Oh, you have to push really hard.
I'm just changing the algorithm on the FX Aid, which is...
Have you worked out how to do that with any degree of intention yet?
well, there's a
So
little...
So you know what you've selected.
I actually
You have to get
am
your cheat sheet
completely...
now.
Might have to get my cheat sheet, yeah. But that's got some sort of... which one's delay? Yeah, this is the FX Aid now, with no delay. Let's try different.
That's a nice one. Is that a shimmer?
Yeah.
Got overtones in there.
That one's for Ty. He loves shimmer.
It's almost singing back to me. All right. Let's try cartridge sound. Seinfeld, anyone? That's a bizarre sounding effect, that one, isn't it? It's like your sort of plate, isn't it, that one? All right, I need to find a different sound. Clara solo. Choir. I kind of feel we need to go through our bit crusher again. This will be interesting. Or you don't really notice the phaser so much there, do you? Let's speed it up.
Sounds like the synth on the Creepshow movie soundtrack.
But definitely I would recommend this. The whole idea of this show is to sort of give you guys inspiration to, or lack of inspiration to try things different, you know, like plug your synths into things that you wouldn't think normally to plug them into. Like who would think to plug a big, massive, huge keyboard like a DX7 into a modular system? Do it. Why not? Modular systems don't just have to have another module plugged into another module. It doesn't have to be that sort of rudimentary. It can be any external gear can go into it as long as it's line level. So yeah.
It have to be bloop, bloop, bleep, bleep.
Then it'd be fart, fart, sniff, sniff, fart, fart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I'm not winning awards with sounds here, right?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So the phasers kicking into that.
It's got a bit of release that gives it something to...
Yeah, it's something to bite onto. It's just one of the things about FM that's kind of a little bit annoying, that you'd like to have some sort of, you know, hands-on controls on here instead of having to go through screens and program stuff. But I think you've got your two data sliders on here, the CS1 and the CS2, and they do things, right? Subtypes. Anyway. Maybe next week when we do the show, I'll have the Rachel hooked up so that it's responding to MIDI from a MIDI keyboard, and then we can do something like that. I definitely think it needs... Because a ring mod, an analog ring mod is different to, I think, an FM ring mod, especially that CS80 ring mod.
Oh, yeah.
The CS80 ring mod is different to every... This one?
Need my machete.
Horror movies. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So a couple of things to take away from today's show. Number one is when you make your videos, maybe turn the light on. That's the first one. Second one, I do apologise for last week being last minute. If you guys were put out by that, just know that I really was actually sick, and it just wouldn't have been an enjoyable show.
I just went back to sleep, so it's okay.
Yeah. I did send emails out to all the people that were supposed to be here. So new rules by me. Yeah, I think it, you know, have one guess with the name that's synth. I've noticed that a lot of people are like guessing and then guessing again and guessing again and guessing again. Just if you keep that in your head, and then when you're ready, put your guess in. I think it's kind of, that's fair. Otherwise you're like, no, it's a CS80. No, it's a DX7. No, it's a car horn. No. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just spamming.
Oh. Yeah. Scotswatch can't get to the Royal Enfield. Whoops.
Well,
right.
Now, have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. I think we've got through the show unscathed. It's 3 hours in, so I think we'll call it a day, hey? DX7 into modular, was it a win or a loss, or an interesting experiment too?
We got some interesting bits out of that, Ranzee. There were some cool sounds.
Yeah. I think it's something that I was surprised with the results, in terms of there was some results that I was very disappointed with, and there were some results that I was kind of, ooh, that's not bad. So I think it's probably one of those things where you just have to sit and just find an interesting patch. You know, one of the things you should do if you've got a DX7 is download a library manager and just send it sysex, because there are gazillions of patches out there on the internet that you can send to it. So, you know, you could be there for hours just sending a patch to this DX7 until you find something that you like. So, yeah. Big thank you to the chatties who always make the show enjoyable. All the criticism that you guys send me, I love it every week, including the love as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for being part of the show, especially you gentlemen who come on and show your faces. It's much appreciated. You guys make this community what it is. Don't forget that we do have Discord and where's that button gone? We have Discord. So don't forget to check out Discord. Chats are going during the week. There's been some massive discussions in Discord this week about System 8. So if you're into your System 8, there's been some really big, long discussions. There's one of the guys in there has just recently bought one, and there's another guy who is, you know, a big System 8 nerd like myself. Also, I would like to say thank you to the show sponsors, which we do every week. If you do want to join Patreon or be a channel member, there's a channel member button that you can do. So there's our nice channel members. So a big thank you to all those people. And obviously a big thank you to Polyend Guru for sponsoring the prize for Name That Synth. And the cheesy music as well. No, that wasn't him, that was me. Thanks to you guys. Awesome album. From big thumbs up to Rave Dave. Darren, it was really, really enjoyable. Violetly Purple, yep. Do check that out. It's on Bandcamp. The link is... let's do the link again.
It's also on my YouTube page.
Because Darren's a nice guy.
Yeah, you can put...
Let's do the link again.
He wants you to hit 11 on your speakers.
So I seriously listened to it like 3 times in my car. And you probably think, well, only 3 times? No.
I hope you didn't play track 10 then, when there's any little ears about.
I haven't heard track 10 yet because I haven't done the bonus thing yet. So...
Well, don't play that with little ears about, hence the reason why it's parental...
Oh, okay. Fair enough. There wasn't any little ears in that. Anyway, link to the Bandcamp for Rave Dave's album is... I completely recommend you guys go check it out. It's really, really cool, especially if you're into sort of, you know, it's almost kind of ambient but techno, and like it's actually pretty cool what he's done. I like it. There's some really nice listening moments where you've got that sort of fast-moving beat, but you're kind of chilled at the same time. It's kind of cool. I like it. Always like Darren's stuff as well, so don't forget to check out Darren's. Andy, awesome stuff with the hardware jams, and Brooksy, same with you with Jim Glue. So you guys are doing some wonderful music. So please check out the links. Will be in the blog article. Also links in the description below for these gentlemen as well. Let's end the show, guys. Awesome, great. So we'll say bye.
See you, Rob.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Toodaloo.